May 19th, 2185. By the time that you and whatever remains of the SEAF defense fleet will receive this message, the battle for Earth will be well underway. Within the span of one short week, a cataclysmic surprise attack launched on the part of the Illuminate Empire through the Meridian Wormhole, a product of humanity's campaign to utilize alien technology against the Terminid Hive, and with a newly mustered massive battle fleet, successfully carried out a campaign capturing a full half of the Altus sector in a bid to cut a wide swath through the heart and capital of the Super Earth Federation, the very origin and focal home of humanity, Earth. The previous entry within this series documents the valiant effort of the 317th Special Reconnaissance and Interdiction Division and countless other storied units of Helldivers, humanity's most elite and very last line of offense, to hold the line on the barren death world of Pylon 5. Now, having suffered the inevitable loss in a series of brutal rearguard actions in an attempt to blunt and subdue the juggernaut Illuminate invasion force, the battle carrier SES Wings of Redemption and its complement of the heavily savaged remainder of the 317th SRI finishes its final stage of repair and rearm and jumps to the very last planet and system left standing between the single most technologically advanced race in the galaxy and the beginning of the most consequential battle yet in the history of the Second Galactic War. This report is made solely in honor of the now over 20 million Helldivers killed in action on planet who, made aware by Super Earth intelligence from the very start that there was never a chance of holding onto the planet or repelling this oncoming storm of aliens in the sky or on the ground, climbed into a drop pod and chose to dive anyway. This is the documentation of the battle at New Haven. With the sector now only down to one remaining system under human control in the invasion path, Super Earth Defense Task Force's objective is massively simplified. No longer is there any fleeting idea of holding up to territory at Widow's Harbor or fending off one more wave on Pylon 5. There is only the single-minded and most base goal of executing the most catastrophic loss of life, limb, and strategic resources onto the main body of the Illuminate ground forces, now fully converged onto the surface of New Haven. Acting under the knowledge that every alien body put in the ground on this world is one that will not darken the skies over Earth, enslaving the populace, destroying infrastructure, abducting cows, and whatever the f*** else it is they do. With this in mind, the directives of the Special Reconnaissance and Interdiction is simple and now with clarity, granted from intel gathered from engagements on Pylon 5, highly refined. That being nothing short of the summary and total destruction of every squid, split lip, and slime that made the mistake of intruding upon the inner sanctum of democracy and the means by which that they were brought here. While the mindless thralls that are the former citizens of the Federation enslaved into the antagonistic beings known as the Voltless are undeniably existential threats to mission objectives, they are wholly secondary to their controllers who affected their condition in the first place, that are the true alien Illuminate combat units, the overseers, and their foreign technology and machinations of war. For this reason, target priority falls upon the central and elite command units which direct the hordes of bodies which they cower behind, and fortunately, for the purposes of this agenda, New Haven has seen a vastly higher concentration of these units roaming on the planet's surface, with pockets of numerous such warriors littering the cities of the planet in search for challenge by equal warriors, one happily accepted and met by the highest trained fighters of the Super Earth Federation. Acting under direct orders to engage every single patrol, attack, and command element of these life forms that they come across, operators have utilized superior range, hit and run ambushes, surprise attacks with improvised explosives, and the simple application of immense and overwhelming firepower. Failing that, opting to even face the towering alien on even ground in demonstration of who is truly the pound-for-pound most elite warrior species in all of space. After-action reports estimate each fallen Helldiver accounts for no less than a dozen elites on average before even factoring the hundreds of voteless infantry and countless war machines and aircraft brought down around them. Illuminate encampments, composed of their orbital-to-surface landing craft left idle and garrisoned on the ground, represent the highest value of targets, with Helldiver commandos choosing to forego extraction and bid an all-out blitz assault on these enemy concentrations with little to no ammunition, medical supplies, and stratagem supports after already heavy engagements during missions, just to buy the chance that with the loss of these craft, countless concentrations of enemy elements will be stranded on the surface, instigating a planet-wide logistical breakdown for the invaders. With this larger strategic goal in mind, the remainder of this report details the evolution of tactical actions against the Illuminate and their advanced combat units. As thoroughly established in the initial engagement with the next evolution of their weapons technology on Pylon 5, the wider range of enemy units and weapon systems has resulted in a shift in the nature by which Helldivers and the wider Super Earth armed forces must tackle this historic threat. While Pylon 5's conditions were decidedly stacked against Earth Federation forces, the environmental and planetary factors provided by New Haven did not improve the outlook of armed conflict whatsoever. Wrought with heavy concentrations of atmospheric phenomena known as the ion storms, stratagem coordination is greatly impeded, delaying the deployment of any orbital-based support for Helldivers on planet side by a substantial amount. Orbitals, airstrafes, and resupply often came too late to effectively aid in heated engagements. Worse yet, the heavily mountainous terrain is more than adequately treacherous, with divers on numerous occasions tumbling straight off sheer cliffs and being dense with jungles of alien flora obstructing sightlines and serving to further impede the only advantage that the baseline human holds against the most alien life forms, that being a heavy reliance on ranged equipment. Because of stratagem delay, divers are taken to relying heavily on equipment drops before engagements such as special weapons, resupplies, and backpack modules like the new experimental jump packs and the dynamic firepower boosters that are the Rover series of automated point defense drones capable of putting the hurt on anything that comes within close proximity to the user beacon it is slave to. Since initial engagements on Pylon, many standard armaments such as small arm carbines, marksman rifles, and even more advanced heavy implements such as the Spear guided missile system are now virtually ineffective against multiple, if not all, of the newly fielded platforms and mutations on the other side of the conflict. With tried and true ordnance such as the Eagle 1 cluster bomb doing somewhere between jack and shit to some of the bigger problems like flesh mobs, which can walk it off, and the flying circus, which is effectively not even touchable in the first place. As of current date, however, we at Special Reconnaissance are joyed to announce that due to immediate field testing, plenty of combat experience, and dumb luck, we have discovered at least 2 weapon systems which tackle the new Artillery Overseer, Air Support, and Dave Blunt looking shitheads entirely. Firstly, on Pylon 5, one cadet who, short on munitions for his Liberator service weapon, managed to salvage a far more advanced Plaz 1 Scorcher energy carbine off of the corpse of a fellow diver, which puts out 25 grams of compressed plasma every round, resulting in a superheated decompression on impact, triggering a vast energy release capable of virtually ignoring the armor on even the most durable of hard targets. On either semi or even full auto, one 15-round magazine has been found sufficient to shred an otherwise nearly unstoppable mass that is the flesh mob heavy infantry, as well as ignoring the advanced armor carapace which it protects all overseers, even in an albeit less efficient pinch, directly harming and bringing down interloper fighters and, as well, the tripod battle forms. The only reason this vital information was not included in the previous vid entry is because that clip was lost to data corruption, and if we just said it after the fact, we'd have some asshole from the Ministry of Truth in the comments asking for a source or saying some asinine shit like, you can clip it or it didn't happen, man. Like I have any reason to lie about this shit. Like, come on, guys. Secondly, according to one weapons officer and an allied super destroyer within the task force, the Stahl Arms X3 experimental WASP multi-rocket launch system is capable of locking onto heavy enemy radar signatures and expending bursts of guided munitions, dealing heavy damage. As we have found by testing in the field, one 4 to 5 round burst from this underslung tube apparatus will decimate flesh mobs, elites, flyers, and while again fairly inefficient, can, with heavy enough application of munitions, dispense of a tripod in a tough situation. This puts the WASP firmly in the camp of essential weaponry for many divers against alien threats, even with the cumbersome backpack module for loading, as well as issues maintaining lock-on, much reminiscent to that of the Spear in its early development phases. Additionally, both of these weapon systems suffer from a distinctly poor ammo economy, easily dispersing their limited rounds with rapid fire, leaving Helldivers vulnerable and low on offensive measures after a particularly heavy engagement, as well as being highly advanced pieces of technology normally restricted to the use of anything but the most experienced divers stationed on the most advanced and well-armed of destroyers. So for newer divers still under orders or else patriotic obligation to defend the home of humanity in the coming battle, the following armaments are far easier and faster to unlock and learn as far as function. Any machine gun is going to be your friend. The default MG43 support gun available to all cadets is a serviceable enough implement capable of laying down heavy suppressive fire, as well as inflicting serious enemy casualties to voteless hordes, prone to grouping into vast mobs, as well as capable of penetrating medium armor with its 8mm caliber round, more than sufficient to damage overseers, flesh mobs, and even punch through armor on aircraft. The lighter M105 Stalwart squad automatic weapon is, however, judged to be a superior implement in urban conflicts such as the current theater of war. With a substantially higher fire rate and reduced ergonomic profile and weight, it is lighter, faster, capable of reloading on the move, and where its added bonus of mobility may fail, there are very few problems in the galaxy that a box magazine with a disintegrating belt of 250 rounds of intermediate cartridge is incapable of solving at over 1,000 rounds per minute. For more personable and immediate threats, the fully automatic SG-225 Breaker has been heavily used by troops in close engagements since the outset of the Second Galactic War, popularized first on Malevelon Creek, where it was proficient at cutting through dense jungle foliage similar to that of New Haven's forestry with its heavy pellet load that could cut down armored bot enemies with ease. And while they may not issue it with the same high powder load ammunition with tungsten or depleted uranium or whatever buckshot that was so lethal initially, it's still immaculately capable of sawing its way through endless hordes of zombified victims of tyranny, as well as acting as effective birdshot for whatever flying jetpack bullshit the vultures known as elevated overseers are on. Finally, the classic, versatile, and anything other than subtle GR8 recoilless rifle is the first and last word as far as anti-armor action against any faction, anytime, anywhere. Its heavy 85mm high explosive anti-tank warhead delivers 3.5 kilograms of you, capable of penetrating any plate or mass at anything but the most extreme angles, ensuring that any target is either dead or completely missing whatever armor had been protecting it in the first place every time. With a backpack storing an additional 5 warheads, one of these care packages ensures that the party absolutely does not stop until everything large that doesn't run or hide is dead or irreparably crippled after the shooting stops. As far as ineffective equipment, while more dramatic attempts to utilize advanced weaponry similar to that of what has been mentioned already, firearms such as the Arc Blitzer shotgun were tested against enemy battle forms, unfortunately lacking the range or consistency present in even the most default of equipment to be even remotely considered effective at anything other than fragging the shit out of your own guys. Mechanized war platforms such as the XO-45 Patriot, an armored exosuit system equipped with heavy rotary cannon and missile rack, were fielded to limited quantities in both urban and exterior environments on New Haven, often, while undeniably lethal to any ground units, easy prey for the heavy guns of tripods and artillery units. And as far as air support goes, if a mech suit plays chicken with an attack craft on a strafing run, its targeting is frankly too dog shit to even stand a chance against that kind of mobile firepower, often resulting in a premature mech kill and leading many to conclude that the perhaps most effective component of this stratagem is indeed the autocannon mounted on the Pelican that has to drop it off in the first place. But after persistent testing, one brave and fearless Patriot pilot recorded an instance that, when and where the stars align, it is possible to catch the enemy crammed in heavy force quantity, trapped between the strict architecture of city streets, and utilizing its unparalleled firepower, inflicting nothing short of the single most catastrophic casualty figures onto squid and zombie alike. With the withdrawal on New Haven in full effect, the SES Wings of Redemption is now in the process of recovering the last of its team members on the ground, effecting necessary repairs, rearming, and once again making its way to meet the alien threat and its invasion force on the next and perhaps final battleground. Only this time, not a tarnished wasteland or backwater swamp planet, not an asteroid-blasted moon or obscure planetoid, but the very soil which birthed the human race. And when the main element of the rearguard fleet arrives to join the SEAF Defense Force on Earth, the Illuminate Empire, and whatever else they have devised as far as new warfighting equipment that intelligence suspects they have kept off the table until this, the most critical of moments, will find nothing short of furious and determined defense to hold against whatever evils they may throw against the walls of democracy. We'll see you out there, on the ground, and at the battle on Earth.